That's it. He's on his game.
Yep, JP has taken over the whole operation here, and we love it.
I'm really happy for them. JP, Doogie, and Joe from the Bridge. It's only day 2 when they needed a bounce-back day, and they are on top of their game.
Yeah, they're on fire. It's great. They're really working in cohesion. I love the way people are operating today. It's great. It's great stuff.
We jammed them up a little bit yesterday, too.
We did.
I'll admit, I jammed them up asking for the Nathan Rourke video again.
Yes.
That was on me. I'll take responsibility for that.
Exactly. I mean, we're dealing with technology, right? And it can get finicky at times, and it's easy for us to just say, I want this right now, play it. And it just doesn't work that way all the time.
You know, technology and stuff.
Exactly. Rick Wilde knew, and now we know. Jeff Saturday a little bit later in the hour. Okay, we're making some adjustments on the fly because the guys are on it. It's great. We got Jeff Saturday coming up later in the hour. We'll flip him with Gerry's. What a trade. Saturday and Gerry's flipping this hour, so we'll get to that momentarily. This is hour 2 of Overdrive, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. I'm sure Gerry was keeping a keen eye on the NHLPA Rookie Showcase today, which the NHL is not directly involved with. It's run by the PA.
Who got your attention?
So Easton Cowan was there for the Leafs. That seems very appropriate, right? It should be Easton Cowan. There was a rookie who still classifies as a rookie there for the New York Rangers. You want to guess who it was?
Don't even tell me. Kako?
No.
I don't know. What?
No, but you remember when he's been in the league 5 years.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
No, but do you remember Michael Bunting was a rookie? He was like 28.
Right.
Like, that was like
Lafreniere?
No.
Matt Rempe.
Yeah.
Matt Rempe is there representing the. Look at the size of him compared to all the other rookies. But the fact that Rempe's there, he's got to be the first inclusion in this NHLPA Rookie Showcase ever to have like 5 heavyweight fights in the NHL on Broadway before he even gets there.
Who cares, man? He's a big name.
I agree. I think it's a great play.
Yeah,
I think it's as close as the NHL and the PA can get to promoting heavyweights and fighting and pugnacity and all that kind of stuff without actually saying that's what we're doing. Yeah. Because you're including a guy who, let's face it, he plays like 4 minutes a night. He's not, you've got like Macklin Celebrini's there. They are not in the same world. Matt Rempe and Celebrini are not in the same world.
Yeah, but I like the opportunity for a tough guy like that to have kind of celebrity status, like Bobby Probert and Ty Domi. Like, those guys were legends. And this guy has a chance, and I hope he doesn't go too Hollywood. You know what I mean by saying that? Where it's like
too hero-ish,
Don't be a hero, just be Matt Rempe. Be the guy that goes out there and does his thing. But I like that he can get some status. Well, I love it.
Did you see who he was training with this summer? I'm sure there was
all over
Instagram.
I
didn't like that. I didn't like it either. But
George Laraque is who you're saying? Yeah, he was there with George Laraque.
I mean, listen, George Laraque was arguably one of the toughest guys, certainly in his era, for sure.
But Noodles, if I was going to do that, it would be behind closed doors at some little dinky town in Quebec. But I don't know where that would be held, but nobody would know about it.
Well, you can't control Laraque, though. Like, it was George that posted it, and that's the thing. Like, if George...
Well, Hayes, you say to him, look, man, like, we don't need to broadcast everywhere. We're just 2 old school guys. We're fighters. I want to just go over some tactics. I don't even necessally know if they had to be on the ice. Why did that need to be broadcast? That's just the world we live in.
I don't know. It was weird, man, because Laraque was wearing a Laraque jersey.
Well, what is he going to wear?
I don't know, man. Throw on, like...
I can't come on the ice. I have to put on my George's Laraque jersey.
Yeah, but... Okay, I'm going to defend George on this. Here's the reason why. You got to wear a jersey because they're tying. I think it was a tactical thing. But do you think if you wore a
put on a Canadian Tire jersey?
Yeah, throw on a Boston Pizza hockey shirt, hockey jersey or something.
And, Noodles, there was nothing. I think it's cool. Like, the guy reached out. Like, if I was a fighter, Kelly Chase would be the first guy that I would call because as far as technical guys, there's nobody better that ever played the game. I would call that guy and have him go through a series of on-ice things. But you know what it wouldn't be? It wouldn't be on Instagram.
Yeah, I know, but we're different. Like nowadays, everything's on Instagram. Hey, look at what I had to eat. Look at what I'm doing today. Look at how hard I'm working. These young kids, wasn't it Nick Robertson that was posting everyone a couple years ago, every one of his workouts? Like, look at how hard I'm working, all of that. I get it. It's just for us, I'm 50 years old. I can't judge somebody who's 20 who that's the world they live in. So
speaking of that kid, like I know we touched on him a little bit yesterday. Like, is he not reporting to camp, or is he coming?
He doesn't have
camp?
a contract. He's an RFA, and I would guess so. I mean, it sounds like he's still got that outstanding trade request, and he's not interested in showing up. And
he has no deal anyway.
I think it's so stupid. You've got a new coach here. You know, by this point, you probably have to realize where the Leafs are at. And like the left side, we talked about it. They have, Bobby McMahon. Yeah, like it's a little bit thin in terms of the opportunity. And maybe Berube won't give it to him. Maybe Berube doesn't see anything there. I'm not sure. But I got the impression like the gripe he had was with Sheldon Keefe. Keefe just didn't trust him, didn't want to play him. And maybe he deserved that, right? Like there's got to be some self-awareness. Like you got to improve your game. You got to show you're worthy of getting out there and playing on a very good team. But it's so early in his career, he still has not established who he is. I can't imagine there's a massive market. Someone would acquire him, clearly. Someone would take him in the league in a trade. But what are they willing to pay him? What are they willing to pay for him?
Right.
And the Leafs are in a position where they're like, we're up against the cap. You're cheap. You're not getting any money. We kind of need help here. We got a new coach. I don't see why the Leafs would blink.
Well, let me ask you this. You were just talking about that rookie showcase. I think there's a world where this Cowan kid might come in and make some noise, right?
Yep,
like
that's right.
You got to be in camp. Like I don't know. Again, I've never had a scenario where I held out or whatever. That's the business of the game. I understand that. But you just pointed it out, Hayes. That left side, it's not like there's returning Hall of Famers on that left side. Nyes is going to be a really good player and has shown that he belongs there in that top six. Outside of that, McCann came. We didn't know. I mean, we knew who he was, but we didn't know who Bobby McCann was a year ago when we were having this conversation. Sorry, McMahon. Sorry.
McMahon. Yeah, you're right, though. He was in the American Hockey League for the first 40 games of the year.
Exactly. Bobby McMahon. Sorry. But you know what I mean. So that left side, there's opportunity. Nick Robertson has to be in camp for me. He has to be chomping at the bit because you're right. Somebody might, if Easton Cowan has a great camp and Tree decides to give him a look, like he's getting a look.
It's a dangerous game when you're of Nick Robertson's status, like which is not a lot of experience, played a little bit, scored a little bit, not being in camp or not.
Yeah.
But I understand every time I say that kid should be in camp, I take myself into the kid's shoes and they have this. Everybody's got an ego and they have a self-belief in what they're doing. And he's saying to himself, every time I got on the ice and every time I played, I scored and it wasn't good enough. So screw this. I'm out of here. I can understand his frustration, but there's just the sense of you have to get by that. And I don't know. But when you're the guy going through it, you're like, screw this. I want to go try somewhere else.
Yeah.
And when you have that in your head, it's tough to get around. I saw Mike Pekka. He was in a contract squabble in Buffalo. He sat out the whole damn year. He said, I'm not going back.
Mm-hmm.
But
this
guy's not Mike Pekka.
Player.
That's
right.
The thing. That's right. This guy's not Mike Pekka.
Yeah. And I think usually the way this works out is, teams, I could see the Leafs negotiating with him saying, listen, there's only so much, and I don't think it's about money because he has to realize where he is in his career. He's not going to make that much money here. Is sign, get into camp, perform. If 20 games in, you're not playing and Berube's, you're not your guy, we'll trade you. We'll because that happens all the time. Get here, accept the deal, show up, give us your best. We're going in with eyes wide open. What do you have for us? But you tell his agent, if it's not working and he's not playing, we'll trade you. And that seems like a reasonable way to go about this. Show up. Bring the right attitude, play hard, and if you play well and make your bones here, you'll be a Maple Leaf, and that'd be awesome. If not, they'll find a deal and you'll move on. But you're not. I don't see a scenario. I don't know why the Leafs would be like, fine, you win, we're trading you. Why would you do that if you're Toronto?
Well, like what's the value that you get back?
Nothing.
Like that's the thing.
Like you're not, like relatively speaking. I don't know what you're getting.
Well, yeah. Is there a player like you? You'd almost be trying to look for a player that needs a fresh start somewhere else, a young guy who's trying to break through, like an apples for apples trade. But this is where the organization has to hold strong. Like, they hold all the cards here. You can't give in, and you can't let the player dictate
how it's going to work. Can't do it. All right, Jeff Saturday later in the hour. You guys ready for Gerry's percentages?
Yes.
You're going to want to hear this.
Gerry's percentages.
I don't love being commissioner as much as I used to. I actually love it even more.
That's the voice of a Hall of Famer.
Are you kidding? Have you been out drinking?
You're all pigeons. Filthy, filthy pigeons.
It's Gerry. Gerry.
All right, Gerry's percentages brought to you by Boston Pizza, the best place for any family meal. Plus, for the month of September, kids eat free with minimum purchase when you dine in. So grab the kids and hustle in your local BP tonight. Let's hear from Gerry. Let's get to it here. Come on.
Gerry's back, bitches, and better than ever. Gerry spent this summer working on two things, my tan and my bar play. And let's just say the ladies loved it. And I'm not talking about my tan.
Okay. All right. They love the bar play. I like it. Gerry had himself a very eventful summer. You think he's ready with takes? I would assume he's ready with takes.
Give me one.
Let's go.
Speaking of ladies who love Gerry, Taylor Swift will be shown opening night before the game, after the game, and at least once per quarter during the game. Gerry doesn't even get that much attention at a Rangers game.
No, T Swift. You see the recent controversy, which is so stupid.
What, the contract to September 28th?
No, I thought that was fake. I saw something about that online, but the NFL posted a promo video the other night saying the NFL's back, and someone sat there and counted how many times Taylor Swift was posted in the video, and I have the answer because I live in this world. 5 times.
Oh, I thought it was 7.
I saw 5. Maybe it was 7. And Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP, was only shown once, and that's become this big controversy. How do you show Taylor Swift 5 or 7 times and you only show Lamar Jackson once? Who cares? It's a promo for the upcoming NFL season. Aren't we excited the NFL's back? Like, what is it? I couldn't imagine wasting time on something so stupid. Yet, here we are, and Gerry brings up a good point, because it's opening night, Arrowhead, Kansas City. You know T Swift's going to be in attendance.
Yeah.
Before the game, after the game, and once each quarter.
Dude,
what's your percentage?
100%.
I'm sorry,
100%?
It's 100%. I'm shocked it wasn't twice a quarter. I'm shocked Gerry didn't go to twice a quarter.
Yeah.
Like, I think for some reason, the pan to Taylor Swift, it's going to be more this year than last year. I don't know why I think that, but I think that. It's going to be worse. And I don't care. I like Taylor Swift. I think it's cool she's dating a football player. I think it's cool they always show her. I don't know why that would – everything bothers somebody these days. Yeah. Who cares? She's the most famous person in the world. Yeah. They will pan to her as many times as they can. This is 100%.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm very high on this, too. I'm curious to see what Hayes, because Hayes is disgusted. The look on his face right now, he's disgusted.
Listen, Hayes, what do you think somebody's like? You think Goodell's going to go to the networks and say, can you slow down a little bit on the?
Again, the promo video, like, it's a promo video online, which means nothing. Means absolutely nothing. But the fact that she's in that promo video that much, like, she is now synonymous with the NFL in many ways, and especially when the Kansas City Chiefs play. Of course, they're going to show the walk-in. Like, that's the move. She's going to walk in. Blake Lively will be, whatever it is. That's happening. Likely each quarter, the post game is where I think Gerry may have gone too far here.
Oh,
how do you get T Swift into a post game? I mean, unless we're talking the buzzer goes, the Chiefs win, and there's her in the box happy, I guess I could see that. But I think the door's open for no post game shot, especially if the Ravens go in there and blow the doors off Kansas City. Which I don't think they'll beat them big, but I think they could beat them 70%.
I'm
70%. You see her that many times.
I'm higher on this because define post game, like, because are you talking walk?
NBC, the
locker
standard
room walkout or no, or
possibly the walkout. Yeah, you're right. That is a production move.
He's going to walk out in his he wears those jean jackets and everything that are. And he's going to meet up with her. Like I think you're going to see her. I'm with I'm 100%.
100%.
You're going to see her.
Yeah. 100% to start the year. I love it.
I know.
One of the Maple Leaf goalies will start 50 or more games this season.
Absolutely not. These are slam dunk percentages. One of the goalies is going to play 50 or more.
Mm-hmm. Joseph Wall or Stollerts, do you think? Or I guess Matt Murray. Maybe you can throw Matt Murray in there. Maybe Murray starts 50.
Wrong.
Well, obviously that's wrong. But do you think Joseph? I think they'd love to see Wall start 50 games.
They would. But I think there's a 15% chance this happens. Because I think Wall's the guy they would like to play 50, but after what we've seen I'm just going to go on what we've seen goaltending-wise in this city for the last 5 or 6 years. There's no way in hell, but I'll still give it 15%.
I'm going to be higher because at some point you hope that this kid, like the injury bug, is behind him. Okay? He's 26 years old. Like, he's not I call him a kid. I mean, Stuart Skinner's a year younger than him, and Skinner played 82 games last year, including the playoffs. He played 59 in the regular season, and he played in 23 in the playoffs. Like, this guy played 82 games last year. Now, Skinner is, I think, a little bit bigger and a little bit physically bigger. Like, just I think Skinner's like a 220 type of thing. Like, he's a big dude. But Wall, at some point, has to get through that injury plagued season, or where he has this bothering him. I mean, the Leafs are dying for him to be a 50 game starter or more. And you've got a really good, we'll call it number 2 in Stolarz, is a guy who's really developed into a really good NHL goaltender. And he's a monster. I saw him in the finals. I met him face to face. I
don't care if that guy plays 50.
But I think you are going to see. I would like to see the year where it isn't, hey, they've had 6 goalies go through, because of this and because of that. Like, it would be nice for them to have stability in that position, because they really haven't had that in quite some time, to be honest.
No, they haven't. Of course not. I mean, last year was a circus. Like, Samsonov was on waivers at one point. Then the guy's starting in the playoffs.
Don't just say last year. There's been there's Matt Murray. There's Jack Campbell, Freddie Anderson. It's been a circus, man.
Yeah. It has, and I don't think the circus is leaving town this year.
All right, so I'm 40%, but that's a hopeful 40. I hope.
I'll go somewhere in the middle. I'll say 27%, but I want to see that out of Joseph Wall. But he's injured. He's injured all the time in his professional career. I don't, because it was such a quick turnaround and they battled back from 3-1. The fact that he got hurt leading up to Game 7 is still something that probably didn't get covered enough. Like, he got hurt, by all accounts, on the last 0.2 of the game. Like, when he went post to post, and then, but then he was practicing, and he was in the pregame, and there were 3 goalies on the bus. Like,
dude,
that's scary.
That was bonkers.
Yeah, if you can't get to Game 7, that's troublesome. Yet they've committed to him. They've given him 3 years. They believe in this guy, and I believe in his talents when he's playing. Yeah. And I just don't know. Stollerts is a guy, I get his size and everything, but he's not been someone that's pushed up to 50. I don't think it's going to happen with these two guys. I think perfect world, they both play 41. That's the best you can ask for, is 41 tops at either of these guys. So I'll say 27%.
The Blue Jays will sign Juan Soto this offseason. Not even Gerry believes that one. Where's the airplane coming from this time, fellas?
Yeah, this is based off a Bob Nightingale scoop. That
Why?
I don't
have
know.
To go there?
He's not coming here. They're gonna do the song and dance. That we had a meeting and it was productive and we're really excited. He's not leaving New York.
That seems like
it's
a
not
leak
happening.
Statement. Like, if I was a GM, I'd say, "Hey, old Bobby boy, can you leak this just to give my fans?"
That's exactly it. Let everyone know we're in on this guy. They're in on everyone. They're in on Ohtani. Hey, we're in on Ohtani. Yeah, we're tracking the planes. It's really going to happen. They should be in on Juan Soto. Why not? But you know how much money it's going to cost him? Like, to get him, it's going to cost an astronomical price, and he's not leaving New York. He's not leaving the Yankees. There's no way it's going to happen. 0%. 0%. He's not signing up here.
Yeah. All
like
right,
I don't see it, man. I think we've learned our lesson. He's not.
You can't go
signing
zero,
up
man, because it's about money, and maybe they offer money. I'm not saying zero, but I'm going to say I'm going to give him 20. I'm going 20.
20%.
I'm 6% because I think it's close to zero, but you never know.
It is money, and I think he's a Boris guy. I hear what you're saying. Like, if it's simply he will go to whoever spends the most money, then that opens the door for the Jays to spend the most money. They can do that. They have that ability.
But we all know how this plays out. He ends up staying a Yankee.
Exactly.
Or he goes to the...
He's not leaving New York.
Dude, he'll find a way to sign with the Dodgers. He'll end up a Dodger,
possibly.
man.
He'll defer money until like 2150 or something.
Did you see the Dodgers the other day? They had 3 home runs in their first 3 at bats.
They're 1, 2, 3 in New York. Like Ohtani's hitting leadoff. You got Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Hernandez. Teoscar's hitting 1 million home runs.
It was ridiculous.
Like, they're
that pitcher
so
should have
good.
just walked off the mound.
Yeah,
like it was ridiculous.
It's crazy, man. I listen. I'd love to see Juan Soto up here. I'd love to see it. To see it. But I don't believe they're going to spend that kind of money on him, and I don't think he's leaving New York. I don't think it's going to get to that point.
Scotty Scheffler will finish his career and be considered a greater player and career than Rory McIlroy. Old Rory sure crapped a bed at Pinehurst, didn't he? Looked like Hazy B on 18 at Coppenwood.
Yeah, he did. He did, man. Those 2 putts might spiral him completely out of control, Rory McIlroy. This is an interesting Gerry's that because Scheffler's got a long way to go, man. McIlroy, those putts are bad, and he's choked away tournaments. He's still one of the 10, 12 greatest players ever, like greatest resumes. He's got 4 majors, FedEx Cups, everything. I mean,
I think this sheer dominance, though, I'm going to go 85% that this Scheffler goes on a tear here in the next 5. He's only 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, you think of what the damage that this guy can do in the next 12 years. Like, he's beating these guys, seems like every time he tees it up. Wow. Every time. If he didn't get thrown in jail and a couple breaks at the British, like, he wins almost everything, man.
Yet he's only won a major at one place.
Yeah,
he's only won at Augusta.
God, you're negative today.
No, I'm just saying, it's just a reality, man. Listen, you know how I am on Rory. I don't think Rory's going to win again. I don't. That's negative, but I really don't. I think those 2 putts...
Dude, they hurt him, man.
I think they've really scarred him, and I think they've possibly scarred him for life. But I'm not like we're talking Scheffler versus McIlroy here. That like McIlroy's career is unbelievable. Like Scheffler's had a great. He's got to do this for another decade.
If you asked anybody in golf, any kind of pundit, they would say this is 85% or higher that Scotty Scheffler, as of right now, will have a better career. No one would go under that. No one.
Yeah, okay.
I'm playing the field, though. There's nobody. You don't think there's anybody.
Yeah, well, Scheffler, like in 2 years, maybe he spirals out, right? Like guys go up and go down. He is so hot
you know how
right now.
good this guy is? They were showing the money list. Some good players won $7 million this year. You know how much Scotty Scheffler won? $62 million.
Dude, his caddy won $6 million or something.
6.2.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like it's absurd. Like someone broke down the actual money that we're like Scotty Scheffler made $12,000 per shot on tour this year. Per shot. $830,000 per round. $3.3 million on average per tournament. Like that guy would he'd walk up, chunk a wedge, that's $12,000. Shank a wedge, $12,000. You know, hook one into the woods, $12,000. That's how much money he made. But I'm going to say 49% on this Gerry's because we're caught up in the moment. It's recency bias. He's been great for a couple of years. Great. Rory's still got double the amount of majors, more tournaments, more FedEx, and Rory's still Rory, man. Scotty's got a long way until he passes him.
I'm lower. I'm at 26%. I'm playing the field.
I like
That's
it.
why.
I love it. All right, there you go. Gerry's percentages. Maybe we got a Gerry's After Dark, I think.
Absolutely.
Okay, Gerry's
great.
After Dark coming up. Gerry's Percentages brought to you by Boston Pizza, the best place for any family meal. Plus, for the month of September, kids eat free with minimum purchase when you dine in. So grab the kids and hustle into your local BP tonight. Love hearing that. All right, Jeff Saturday coming up. Super Bowl winner, longtime NFLer, ESPN NFL analyst. His take on opening night tomorrow night. The Packers and the Eagles in Brazil on Friday night. We'll get more into that. And Mackenzie Hughes coming up in about 40 minutes. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, Jeff Saturday coming up here in a moment of ESPN. Get his take on opening night tomorrow night. Kansas City at home against the Ravens. FanDuel's all over it. We're going to have picks tomorrow, of course. Luke will join us. Al's brother will join us. And we're going to flip a coin and figure out who gets the pick tomorrow night, because we're also got games on Friday night with the Packers and the Eagles on the way to Brazil. And I was reading online that the Eagles have taken off. I'm sure the Packers have done the same thing. It's a 9-hour flight, I believe, from Philly to Brazil. And their team doctors and sports scientists, they have suggested that nobody sleeps on the plane.
Why?
What?
I guess they figured out because you're dealing with the same time zone. It's different. Like if you're going to Europe, right, you've got to adjust to the time zones. Here, they're trying to keep them awake so that your sleep schedule doesn't get thrown off. You know, if you get on the plane, fall asleep for a few hours or whatever, then you get there and you're up all night. The NFL's different, man. Like Luke tells us all the time. Like you'll play road games, they'll lock you in your hotel. You know, they are very regimented in terms of when you go to sleep, how you go to sleep, how you operate, what you're doing.
Dude, I've played with guys where as soon as that thing takes off, with guys snoring.
Like,
yeah.
Exactly.
You're going to tell some 350-pound lineman that he can't shut it down in an airplane where he's used to just absolutely snoring.
And you get on the plane, the first thing you do is have 2 steaks, like that you're fed so well. So they're going to have the meat sweats, and they're going to try and stay awake for a long flight. No chance. Like, what's a sleep doctor going to do? You go up to a 350-pound lineman and smack him across the face, wake up, the guy will stuff him in a garbage can.
Well, that's exactly, especially a veteran that has status. You think that guy's doing he doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like what are you going to do? Bench him the first quarter of the game on Friday night because he fell asleep?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen, and I'm with you. I mean, some people you get in motion, you get on flights, you fall asleep.
I know, but
that's just naturally how it works.
Like instant. I don't know. I would love to do it. I cannot sleep.
I've fallen asleep on so many flights before we've even been in the air.
Dude, that's my dream.
It's wild. You wake up and you're in a different place.
Yeah, it's somebody's tapping you to get up and get off the bird.
Yeah, it's a pretty shocking experience, but it's a great way to fly. I have a feeling Jeff Saturday's a quick shutdown guy on a plane.
For sure. To get on and to have a little bite and then shut it down the whole way.
Glass of wine and just right to sleep for 7 hours. Here he is, longtime NFL, Super Bowl champ, ESPN NFL analyst, Jeff Saturday. Jeff, we're just talking about, I guess, team doctors in Philly are suggesting that the players don't sleep at all to Brazil. Would you be able to do that, or would you be falling asleep?
Not a chance, bro. When my butt hits the seat, dude, I'm unconscious. Count me out. I will see you in Brazil, baby. There will be no chance. There will be no chance I'm staying awake for a 10-hour flight, man. Ain't no way.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Let's get this thing to sleep, wake up, and we're somewhere else in the world. Let's have a good time.
I love it.
Jeff, what do you think of this idea of going over there? Everybody likes to, a road trip or something different, but you know the deal. It's such a long season. To add this into it, what do you think about it? I mean, some of the guys have been complaining about going to Brazil and what it's like over there. What would you make of it?
I'll say this. I think it's good for the game overall. I think it's good to expand the game, right? I mean, you're putting more money in the accounts, right? Because you're expanding the game. If you're going to do it, I think now is the time to do it, because you can do it on a Thursday or Friday. So you're giving yourself a little more time to travel. But when you do it in the preseason, I went to Japan. I went to Mexico City. When we went to Japan, we stayed for 7 days, and it was unbelievable. It was an incredible trip. We went to Mexico City. We flew in and out in a day. I mean, you know what I mean? Because they were concerned about the safety of the players, which sounds very similar to what they're talking about Brazil, right? Is don't bring the families down, don't go out. And that's hard, man, because if you're on a plane for 10 hours, you'd like to get to the hotel, stretch out, go to a restaurant, get some food, and then then come back to your hotel, kind of find your normal routine travel. But when you feel like you're just sequestered, you're going, it does kind of make it tough. And not having your family come down for a special trip like that makes it even worse. You know what I mean? And that's the negative that I've heard from some players saying that their families aren't even going to go down and experience it. That's just a sad state. You hate to hear that no matter where that is in the world, especially, starting the NFL season there.
Jeff, were you a routine-oriented player? I mean, did you need to do certain things before the game to make sure that your head was on straight, or at least your body or your mind was into it?
Not really. The night before we did the O-line, we did milkshakes. So we'd all go into somebody's room, sit down, and we'd have chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry milkshakes, and sit around and talk and laugh and make fun of each other and, do all those kind of things. And then we went out to eat as a group every Friday afternoon. But that was really our routine. I didn't get too wound up. I looked at it. We weren't kind of a rah-rah team. You know what I mean? We were very matter of fact. We would have a good time whenever we would go travel. We'd all go to dinner together somewhere, but it didn't have to be anything specific. It was just whoever could get in did. If you had family, you go spend time with your family. Everybody else would go together, and you'd all. But man, some great fun was had. The bus travel, the planes. That's so much of the stuff that you remember when you retire. It's just incredible to look back on those. Honestly, much more than even the games in reality.
With Jeff Saturday, ESPN NFL analyst, longtime NFLer. It starts tomorrow night. Chiefs chasing the three-peat, something that's never happened before in the Super Bowl era. I think we can all make a case and all see how it could happen because of how great they are. Mahomes, Reed, Kelsey, a stout defense. Can you make a case as to why it won't happen, why the Chiefs will finally get stopped and they won't, in fact, win the Super Bowl this year?
I honestly, there's not a whole lot that barring some injury to somebody that would, curtail what they can do, their defense is legitimate. I mean, in my opinion, they'll be a top 3 defense again. And that's just, with Spagnuolo and what he's doing and the creativity he uses, and then at every level, they got dudes, right? D-line, linebacker, and DB, they got dudes. I know. They got to replace guy back, but I really don't. They went out and got word that he was a speed guy, Hollywood Brown. I know he's not going to play tomorrow, but you got speed on the outside. You got Kelsey in there. You got a good offensive line that plays physical. It's just the ball sometimes bounces the other guy's way would be the only thing that I would see unseat them. You know what I mean? That, a tip here, a fumble there, but they'll be in every game. This is a well-built, well-executing football team. They're not just going to fall off, but barring some catastrophic injury to some major player, they're not. They're too, they're too good. So, yeah, I see them being able to. Probability-wise, you would go, man, at some point somebody else is going to get one, right? But we all said that about New England forever, and they seem to always be there. And it's just an incredible run by an incredible team, and it's fun to watch. I'll be honest, but I do think they're beatable. You know what I mean? Like when you look at Philly's roster, Philly's got a great roster. The Ravens got a great roster. But everybody's got their warts, right? And so it's just who can minimize their issues best as the season progresses. And yeah, man. I even like I think the Rams are a dark horse. I think Atlanta could be a dark horse. Like there's some good teams out there. Houston looks like a team. I like where the Colts are. If Richardson plays well, there's just a lot of good football teams right now that you could see taking a Flyers or a puncher's chance. For lack of a better term.
Jeff, I didn't hear you mention the Jets. If Aaron Rodgers is
absolutely,
if Aaron Rodgers is 100% healthy, like what do you actually expect from that team? Because for years they said with that defense they just need solid quarterbacking and they could do some damage. It's going to be fascinating to watch Rodgers after what happened last year. But let's say he is healthy and plays a full season. What are your expectations?
Oh, they're in it. I mean, they got a great chance to play for it. If their defense plays as well as they played last year, this year, they win 7 games with, so let's go ahead and say, on average, Rodgers is worth 4 more wins, right? So you've already won 11, and that's if you're playing bare minimum, right? So now you're playing, now you got a better chance than that. You're talking about a team that's going to be in the fray for sure. And look, they could definitely make a run for this thing with a defense that plays like theirs. If Garrett Wilson starts taking care of business, this is what I would say as I look at them. When you look at like the Chiefs, you look at Philadelphia, I would say like those two teams, they have the 2 best offensive lines, right? Like when you look at them, they got 2 good offensive lines. That Detroit Lions got a great offensive line, right? So I'm going to kind of bend my way there. I do not think the Jets have a, quote, great offensive line. And at some point that tends to show up in big games where those other teams, San Fran and Detroit, and as you go down the line, that's where I think the Jets could be at a disadvantage. When you start playing good defensive fronts, it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is. He starts getting hit, it changes everything. And especially, Aaron, who's used to using his athleticism, that will not be able to use it like he has in the past just because of his age. That makes some changes, right? So that would be the only side of the Jets that I question. Everything else is an A+ in my book. I think they are loaded, and I think Saleh coaches them well, coaches them hard. He gets the most out of his guys. I got a ton of respect for it. So could they be in it? Absolutely. If Aaron has a MVP-like season, that could be a 14-win team, man. I don't have any issue saying that. If he plays at that caliber, now that's after a whole year off, which is not easy to do. But if he gets in that form, fellas, that is a legit football team.
Well, and that's not good news, I guess, for the Bills or the Dolphins or the Pats. If he plays like that and they rack up that many wins, and you look at Buffalo and specifically Stefon Diggs, who has been, he's been the number one guy, Josh Allen's number one target for years now, and it's been very successful. That tandem put up massive numbers. They've won the AFCs 4 years in a row. Diggs not being there anymore, how much of an effect do you think that will have on Josh Allen and the outcome of the Bills' season?
I think it's big, and this is now again. I'm not trying to write them off as but I think to me they and the Ravens are the 2 teams in the AFC that I say won't be quite as good as last year. Just because, like you said, Diggs is gone, Davis is gone. Like you're going to have to find your form. Now they started running it much better when they had the OC change towards the middle or end of last year, and I like that style of football. But once teams start dialing in and zeroing in on that, will they be able to continue to do that? Is the question, right? Like we know Dawkins is a freaking man child. We know they got a good line, but like how does that produce numbers? And if the Dolphins and the Jets can start putting up big points, can the Bills match that? Now, like Dominique Foxworth, he and I were we were at odds about this today. It's hard for me to say that they're as good, or they're going to be as good this year as they have been. But man, I don't put it past them. I got a ton of respect for Josh Allen and what he does. And that the AFC East is going to be a division to be reckoned with. Like they're on that same like NFC North, like good teams, physical, that it's just, you're playing that style of ball. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it will be. And that NFC North, man, the Bears. Do you think it's the real deal? Like they've loaded up on talent. They've got Caleb Williams. Do you think they can compete? Because the Packers are good. The Lions are really good. What do you see out of Chicago this year?
Yeah, I don't think I don't think they're a playoff team, but I think they make major strides, and I think we need that. You know what I mean? Like they need that. It's just hard for me to go. A rookie QB is going to carry a team now. I mean, he's done some crazy things and he looks special, but we all know, man, when regular season starts and everybody starts game planning specifically for certain guys, that can change in a hurry. But they will be better, and I think Detroit is too good. I think the Packers are too good for them to push that area quite yet. But I do like where they are, and if Minnesota's QB stayed out, I think they would have been good. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, man, it's one of those. They're rough and tumble, and it's going to be a fun division to watch there as well.
Absolutely. All right, Jeff, great stuff, man. We really appreciate you doing this. Enjoy the season starting tomorrow night.
Thanks, fellas. Have a great one. Appreciate
you too. There's Jeff Saturday, who did confirm with us off the top he would be asleep immediately on that flight to Brazil.
That's a skill that I just because you guys know that I'm not exactly the best flyer. I do it now and I get through it. But to see somebody, I want to slap somebody on the forehead that just is snoring like as soon as they sit down.
I know it is a troll job. Like if you struggle,
if you're an anxious flyer and you just see that guy who just does not care, because the whole process of the flight is eliminated for that person because they don't even know what they're dead asleep.
It's honestly one of the coolest things you can do. It's amazing. It's something. It will enrich your life. I urge you to try it sometime.
Yeah, turbulence, anything. It's
nothing.
Not
you're
even
out.
in your life. You're out.
Asleep before, like you're taxiing and you're out, and then you land and you're like, oh. Wow. Yeah. We're here. I'm back in Toronto or wherever it happens to be.
And you know the guy that's going to do it because they will tilt their seat back 1 to 2 inches as soon as they sit down and they're not moving it the whole flight.
Yeah.
As soon as they do that, you know they're gonzo.
They know what they're doing.
I wish I could do that.
That's a great lifestyle,
I
man.
can sleep on planes, but it depends. If early flight, if I've only had like 3 hours sleep and I got to fly back at 6 a.m., like I'll fall asleep. But it's not my first priority. But I played with guys like Chris Pronger can fall asleep anywhere during a hurricane, anything.
Yeah.
Like I'll never forget. We had crazy turbulence one time flying into Detroit to the point where the plane diverted a couple times, and Prong's was asleep
the whole time. He's asleep.
And I woke him up, and he yelled at me. I go, "Are you not seeing this? Guys are crying and like screaming and stuff." And he's like, "What do you want me?
Why
to do
would you
about
wake him up? That is such
that is a foul,
D-bag move, man. The guy's out. He's asleep. He doesn't know what's going on.
The plane was sideways.
Who cares? He can't. Like he said, he can't do anything about
he goes,
that.
What do you want me to do about it? And he like went back to rolled over. I was like, this guy is insane.
That's great if he fell back asleep in that turbulence.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
That's
Crazy.
incredible.
Yeah.
All right, we've got Mackenzie Hughes coming up in about 20 minutes, but TSN 1050 wants to send you on a Royal Road trip to the President's Cup in Montreal. If you heard the keyword announced today on First Up, call us right now at 416-870-1050. 416-870-1050. The first caller through with today's keyword will qualify to win the trip. This is the trip of a lifetime to see the President's Cup at Royal Montreal. You could win a flight, accommodations, $500 spending money, and 2 tickets to see the world's top players compete at Royal Montreal Golf Club. Full details at tsn1050.ca. If you heard the keyword this morning on First Up, call us now, 416-870-1050 to qualify for that prize. All right, Max coming up. Gerry's After Dark. Best Bets brought to you by FanDuel, still to come as well. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, Mackenzie Hughes coming up in about 15 minutes. Best Bets later in the hour, later this afternoon. Baltimore White Sox. 6:35 first pitch. This Chicago White Sox team.
What is going on
Did you see
there?
that Gong Show last night? It
Yeah.
was like the Bad News Bears.
It's so pathetic. We're going to play the clip in a moment. They're 31-109. They are 53 and a half games behind the Dodgers. If you look at it like a league standings, all 30 teams, 53 and a half back of the Dodgers. They are 432 runs scored between them and the Yankees. The Yankees are plus 122 run differential. They are minus 310. That's how big the discrepancy is between the team that's got the most on the plus side and the White Sox on the minus side. I thought I saw it today. They're like 4-37 since the All-Star break.
Like, imagine being in that, like, being a part of that fan base where a couple years ago it seemed like they were bad and then they were getting good. Top Step Tony came in,
right?
And it's like make the turn, and
it's
now
horrendous.
Now all of a sudden, you're that bad again.
The worst ever.
Dude, if you're a fan, you're just like, no way.
No, the worst way ever. And this is what went down last night.
Yeah, and the truth is, if you have great stuff, you can challenge over the white part of the plate a little bit more, let your stuff just play. If you don't, you better figure out.
Oh, no! Oh, my goodness. The White Sox have just gone full White Sox.
That's a great call. The White Sox have just gone full White Sox.
Well, Noodles,
it's a verb
you call
now.
games. Imagine calling those guys 162 of that.
Oh,
that would be a death march.
Disgusting if you're calling that, because you have to try to be positive. You probably work for the team. You know, hey, everybody, the White Sox. Like, you got every day. You must turn your mic off and just exactly. It's Harry Doyle at the start of Major League.
Yes,
it is.
Just a bit outside. You're like, this team is horrendous. They must turn their mics off and be like, these guys, I hate these guys.
Yeah. Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
And that's another part of it. Who the hell would possibly subject themselves to that?
Yeah.
Biggest White Sox fan on earth is probably like, I can't do it. Wake me up in 3 or 4 years.
Imagine being that owner. Like, you would literally be beside yourself.
Horrendous.
Like, just where do I go from here?
Horrendous.
Yeah.
All right, hour 3 coming up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.